Chapter 3. First Flight. First Test. The young fly soared above the meadow, his wings humming with a newfound steadiness. The sensation was exhilarating, like he was free from the bonds of the earth. For a few precious moments, his existential worries diminished under the thrill of flight. He banked left and felt the morning breeze rush against his wings. He rose into the air, scanning the world below in ever-widening arcs. The meadow gave way to gently rolling fields, dotted with wild flowers in riotous hues of purple, yellow, and red. Even though the fly couldn't fully comprehend color the way humans do, he sensed enough of the spectrum to marvel at the brilliance. His senses honed in on a new discovery, an enticing aroma drifting from a wagon on the road below. The wagon rattled along, its wheels squeaking in protest. A few uniformed men walked alongside, their boots caked with mud. They barely spoke. Each seemed lost in his own grim thoughts. The fly buzzed lower, carried by hunger, or at least something akin to it. Closer now, he hovered near the wagon. The smell was sweet and inviting. Remnants of fruit. A soldier riding in the back reached into a crate and pulled out a small piece of bread. Crumbs tumbled to the wagon's wooden floor, and the fly's senses tingled with anticipation. He alighted on the edge, peering over the rim to investigate. A wedge of fruit, half-eaten, lay abandoned. Its juices glistened in the morning light. The fly's short lifespan meant he had never experienced flavor before, but instinct drew him in. He landed and dipped his mouth parts into the sticky surface. Ecstasy, if a fly could feel such a thing, flooded him. So this is sustenance. This is life. He lost himself in that sweet taste, momentarily forgetting the conflict around him. But the moment was short-lived. A sudden shout from the front of the wagon jolted him out of his reverie. One of the uniformed men spun around, face drawn into a scowl. He spotted the fly and swatted with a gloved hand. A gust of panic propelled the young fly upward, just in time. The soldier's hand missed by mere inches. Filthy pest. The man growled, though the fly could only interpret his tone and body language rather than the actual words. Heart-pounding, if a fly's heart could pound. The young fly spun away. For an instant, he glimpsed the man's stern-featurous, narrow eyes under a helmet, a grim set to his jaw, and a small insignia on his collar. The insignia, shaped in sharp lines, caught the sunlight. There was an unspoken tension in the soldier's eyes, as if the world weighed on him. The fly darted away, weaving through the air currents above the wagon. He perched on a wooden barrel strapped to the side. Here he caught his breath and observed the soldier below. While the man's attention had shifted away, the young fly sensed an undercurrent of urgency. The soldier's uniform was crisp, the equipment carefully maintained. They were men on a mission, though the young fly still didn't know what or why. Below him, the wheels of the wagon clattered over ruts in the dirt road. A line of other wagons and soldiers extended in both directions, like a caravan snaking across the land. Thick clouds of dust rose behind them. Some men coughed, others simply marched on. Overhead, the sky was a brilliant expanse, though dark clouds clustered on the horizon, threatening rain, or worse. The young fly thought back to the elder's words. Even the smallest actions can ripple. He wondered about the soldier's swat, The near miss. Did that count as an action? A ripple? Could something so minor be significant? He wasn't sure, but the sense of curiosity anchored him. He resolved to keep exploring. A breeze carried the smell of something acrid. Oil, perhaps. And the fly's antenna twitched in distaste. He drifted from the barrel to a nearby tree stump by the road. From this vantage, he could see the caravan more fully. Dozens of men, uniforms smeared with dirt, marched with their heads down. Horses pulled artillery pieces on iron, rimmed wheels. Some men led rows of supply carts. The rhythmic stump of boots echoed in the morning air, punctuated by the occasional barked command. Amid this, the fly caught glimpses of the world beyond. Tall grasses swayed beside the road, and in the distance, a spire of smoke rose from a farmhouse. He also noticed something new, an intangible tension emanating from the soldiers. Their eyes were grim, their mouths drawn into tight lines. Occasionally, one would glance at a photograph tucked inside a helmet or stuck in a breast pocket. Reminders of a life apart from all this. What do they fight? The fly wondered again, though he couldn't articulate it in words. He felt only a tugging sense of confusion and sorrow. These large creatures had so much time compared to a fly's day. Why spend it in war? After resting a moment, he took flight once more, breezing past the wagon and over the heads of the soldiers. A few raised their eyes, curious about his buzzing presence, but quickly lost interest. He soared higher, just enough to catch a better view. From up here, the marching column seemed endless, stretching toward the horizon in one direction, snaking back to some distant base in the other. The fly felt a tug of purpose stirring within him. He couldn't fully grasp why, but something compelled him forward, as if destiny lay beyond the next hill. He recalled the elder's words about seeking what resonates within. Perhaps the answer to existential questions would be found not in sampling fruit, but in seeing what these men were doing, in following their path. Yet a part of him also found wonder in the simplest things, like the warmth of the sun on his back, the taste of that sweet fruit, and the thrill of fluttering wings lifting him aloft. Even in a world overshadowed by grim marching and strange vehicles, he recognized small joys that colored his day. He perched again, this time on the leaf of a wildflower. The bright bloom trembled slightly under his minuscule weight. He looked back at the caravan and felt a longing to understand. Yet the more he watched, the more he realized that even these large beings, with all their power, might be caught in currents beyond their control. The fly thought, if I only have one day, I must see as much as I can. For a brief second, a wave of fear struck him. Time was running out, hours slipping by. That fear morphed into a resolute push. He would keep flying, keep seeing, until his final breath. With a final glance at the soldier who had nearly swatted him, the fly buzzed onward, setting his course along the dusty road. The mechanical thunder from earlier was louder now, emanating from somewhere beyond the horizon. He didn't know what he would find, but each moment of flight was a piece of the puzzle he felt compelled to solve. And so, he flew on, embracing both the terror and the thrill of life in a single day.
Thank you so much for listening, and if you are still awake, please do me a huge favor. Just like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it.